Today, we're checking out the new Academy Museum, which opened with a huge Wizard of Oz exhibit. We'll also react to the Wicked Witches reunion at the Tony Awards. Plus, we'll talk to author Christopher Schmehl about his novel, The State of Oz. This show is brought to you by the Oz Club. Since 1957, the International Wizard of Oz Club has been bringing fans together. Go to ozclub.org to join. Hey, everybody!
Hello!
Hey. How is everyone?
Good. So excited to talk about all these new fun hot topics.
Yes.
Yes, let's start with the Academy Museum. Has anybody run over to the store yet or checked out anyone's Instagram posts? Yes?
Okay, so I did go to the museum store and was bitterly disappointed by the lack of variety in pricing. You're either shopping for extremely expensive designer situations or $3 magnets, and there's very little in between. So I was kind of shocked and sad that things weren't more accessible for the everyday collector. But the stuff is beautiful. You can't deny that.
I mean, that ruby slipper purse, gorgeous. I'm not paying more for a ruby slipper purse than I would for the icon ruby slippers. Sorry, not happening.
That's a good point. It's $480 as we see here. Let's just.
I mean, that better have real sequins from the original on it for that.
I agree. For $480, you can get 1939 merch, like a lot of it.
Well, and for the fact that it's shaped like a shoe, you could just get your own shoe and put a strap on it. I mean,
it wouldn't be designer, Garrett.
True, but
am I not a designer?
I'm not a fan of the collection. To kind of quote Miss One from The Wiz, they put the UGG in ugly. That none of it speaks to me, and especially not at the price point that it's at. I get it's designer, but a PVC tote bag for $215, really? I just can't with that. That to me is, like Tori said, it's so much of a disparity in price that it just kind of leaves me really cold.
I also thought this t-shirt for, what is it, $600?
Okay, I polled my TikTok about this, and my viewers were horrified. They said that's something you could make on Etsy for really, really cheap.
The thing is, that shirt was already produced, an almost identical one in like 1990.
Mm-hmm.
You can go buy it on eBay for like $25. There's an almost identical one that already exists.
Yeah. I'm always offended whenever anyone does something super basic, like a t-shirt, and then has the nerve to charge $600. I mean, and none of it even goes to charity or anything. I understand the point of being limited edition, and I love fashion, and I like labels, and I like designers, but that is egregious. There's also the umbrella for $100, so a little bit more price point, but the first time you use it, it might break. And I love hoodies. This would be the one thing I would get, but not for this price point again. And I also
$100 for a hooded sweatshirt? Are you kidding me?
Well, and
it's one that really looks like you could get it off of Zazzle. Like it's not anything truly remarkable.
Yeah, and the quality of the images, like on that umbrella, the photo is so faded, it's so lo-fi that I'm like, that looks like it came off of Wish. Because that's like, it looks like it's from the 1989 print, which was phenomenal in 1989, but you look back at it 31 years ago and you're
I think we all would have liked to have something exclusive. There is the t-shirt available, which I really like. This actually, this one is $50. And I might get this. I'd like to visit the museum and pick this up at some point because there are really great exhibits. I mean, they obviously have a pair of the ruby slippers. This was a pair that was used for close-ups, and the whole display looks really great. Our friend Tiffany Sutton at Follow the Yellow Brick Girl on Instagram was there at the opening, and she attended and watched The Wizard of Oz with the live orchestra, and also got to see this and did a lot of great coverage on her Instagram. There are some moments and stories up there. They also have Eveline's dress from The Wiz, which I think is such a highlight. I mean, I'm as excited to see this as I am the ruby slippers. What do you guys think?
I didn't know they had that, and that I already wanted to go to see the slippers and everything else, but like I've always wanted to know what that dress looks like in real life up close because it's got so much going on.
I know.
The display is really impressive. The actual museum display is super amazing. Like they put together some really truly iconic pieces. They have first edition books signed by the cast. They have concept art. They have copies of early script drafts. Really impressive things that you won't see in other museums. I'm just so disappointed that there aren't more accessible things for the everyday collector.
Right. They also have this ruby slipper tote bag for.
I did like that.
Yeah,
I did actually like the tote bag.
That's a great price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something we could all get, and it's designed by someone who worked on the original Apple and Macintosh logo, or put the smile in Apple or Macintosh. Something I tried to do the research there, so that's something. But it'll be interesting to see as the museum remains open, and if they continue to do new things, or as other anniversaries pop up from the Wizard of Oz, if the museum gets involved in any merchandising or works with other designers, that opportunity is always there. So we'll have to watch the space. Obviously, that's the Academy Museum store. So everyone check that out if you'd like to on your own. Also, the Tony Awards. Who here watched the Tony Awards, or at least caught highlights?
Highlights.
Yes. So this was the moment, obviously. We didn't see Kristen and Adina sing this for good together at Wicked in concert on PBS, but now maybe this is why. Maybe they had already planned to do this, and that would have lost some thunder. So they used their Out of Oz recording from a few years ago during the Wicked in concert, and we got to see Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel reunite beautifully on the Tony stage as part of an iconic Broadway duet series that also saw You're What You Own from Rent, and of course Wheels of a Dream from Ragtime, which was just a showstopper. What did you guys think of this rendition from Kristen and Idina?
I loved seeing it. The emotion in their eyes and in their voices, you could tell that this was a very important moment for them as actresses reuniting, as well as seeing Broadway reopen. I'm sure everyone who works on Broadway, to see it slowly coming back is like no other experience. So it was really good to see them share that moment together. I think if we had used any other two girls, as phenomenal as they may have been, we might not have had that same emotional punch. And I was very happy to see this.
Mm-hmm. I also think it just really puts to bed any of the rumors about Kristen and Idina not getting along, because you could see the real love in their eyes during this performance. Do you agree, Tori?
When you do a show with someone, and I'm only speaking from my experience, but when you do a show, you become a family, and that never really goes away. Even if you lose touch, even if things go wrong, those bonds go on forever. And you could really feel the genuine emotion in this performance. And I'm sure getting back on a stage in front of a live audience and singing like that must have been such a cathartic moment for two performers who have basically been sidelined because of COVID. So it's nice to see this. They did a beautiful job. It was wonderful.
Garrett, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. I actually didn't realize they had done it. This has been a month for me.
It's fair. It's fair. Say no more.
I didn't.
Now you know, and anyone watching, check it out. I believe that the Tony Awards or CBS or someone has it up on YouTube, so you can see the actual performance, and it is stunning. You will love it. I mean, I've watched it several times.
I'm glad you touched on the whole thing about the rumors about their relationship, because drives me crazy every time I hear it. I'm like, and even Kristen Chenoweth has said in an interview, she's like, we're sisters. Did we get at each other's throats a little bit when we worked together 8 times a week? Yeah, but then they hate each other.
Yeah, don't you think? I think
jealousy because one's a Disney princess and one's. I'm like, I don't think Kristen Chenoweth gives a crap.
Yeah.
Kristen Chenoweth is technically a Disney queen. She is Maleficent, and
it's like they both had great careers.
And she voices one of the fairies in the Tinkerbell animated series.
Yeah, so just because they don't sit around and sing "Kumbaya" every day on Facebook, doesn't mean they're not friends.
People just love a feud, obviously. So.
Mm-hmm. So
all right. Up next, we have author Christopher Schmehl, who did The State of Oz. It's his debut novel. He's joining us now for an interview. Let's welcome him.
Hi, Oz fans.
Hi. Hey. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing good. Thank you so much for being here. All right, Garrett, I believe you have the first question.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Garrett.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm doing good. So which book or books in the series do you feel inspired you the most to write your book?
I believe the second Baum book, The Marvelous Land of Oz. I like that one a lot, and it expanded the world of Oz. And also the Lost King of Oz by Ruth Plumley Thompson. That one too, because it expanded on Ozma's backstory and the fact that there had been a king before the wizard and the witches.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Tori. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I just want to thank you for sharing your work with us because I read your book and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for being here.
Great.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you. So, what are your first memories of Oz?
First memories are watching it as a young kid. Each year when it was on in the spring on TV, I'd like to watch it.
So my question for you is, as an Oz fan, I'm sure you're aware that every year it seems like there's more and more Oz books coming out. It's one of those series that will probably never have a finite end because people love it so much. In this sea of Oz books that we see every year, what do you think helps yours stand out or sets it apart? Why would you suggest that an Oz fan read it?
Well, I would say it's got some good adventure in it. I brought in a lot of characters, and I even brought in the Gnome King's old Iron Giant to get things going. So it's got a lot of excitement in it.
I agree. I love the State of Oz. Thank you so much for this. And like you were just saying, you bring in so many characters that are so beloved, and I think that's part of what's exciting for me. Is you have your new characters, and there's this new story. I like Ben and John; they're a lot of fun, and also the other Americans that check out the Emerald City and Oz. But what really inspired the total story here? How did you come up with your story, and how did you decide to set it in Oz?
Well, I've been wanting to write an Oz story since the 90s, and I had come up with a story about the sliders. They were the first component, the otter-like creatures, and I had come up with the name, the sliders. I thought that would fit in well in Oz with the Munchkins and the Winkies and the Hammerheads, but I didn't have a total story, and then I was inspired to write a story with the scouts involved. What would their take be if they got to Oz, and what was going on? Because everybody in Oz is virtually immortal. They'll live forever. So I expected Dorothy and Ozma and all the others were still there. And what were they up to?
One of the things I think that at least when the times when I've attempted to write that I find difficult is sort of playing in Baum and Thompson's sandbox, if you will. They've created this world, and you're going into to play with them. Did you find it challenging trying to keep the characters true to how they had been written by Baum and Thompson while still providing your own new characters or nuances to them?
Yeah, it was tricky, and there were times when I kept telling myself, "You have too many characters here." It was difficult making everything flow together and circle around. But I've read a lot of I've read all of Baum's Oz books, and I've read most of Ruth Plumley Thompson's. So I had a pretty good feel for their characters, and I would go back and reread and would think to myself, does this fit? And does this jive with how their characters were intended to be? And things like that. And I tried to avoid repeating things too much, because, as was mentioned, there have been a lot of Oz books over the years. So I tried to make sure I didn't repeat things that other authors have done.
So you had mentioned that you have written short stories before, but as I understand it, this is your first published Oz book. So is that the case? And if so, will there be more?
Yeah, I have some more planned. I have a sequel for The State of Oz. It's titled The Serendipitors of Oz. Um, and I have a book that it's a little different. and it'll be out soon. It's called Serendipity and Black Magic, and it's loosely tied to Oz. It actually takes place in Oz's past. It introduces the character of Mira, and her involvement with witches in Oz, but it takes place long ago when Ozma's great-grandfather was the King of Oz.
So do you think that this could become a franchise? Do you see yourself writing, a trilogy or maybe even more?
Yeah, definitely a trilogy. Because I have enough ideas, I believe, to fill that out. And I have a lot of ideas for Mira. She winds up in lots of adventures and misadventures.
It's interesting as an Oz book. I almost think it's more science fiction somehow than how Oz is strictly considered fantasy, because in sci-fi, a lot of classic sci-fi, we see our government, or we see our Americans react to the unknown, aliens or things that we're unaware of, and they want to dissect it, and they want to destroy it, and they want to kill it, and they want to own it, and all of that, right? We see that in storytelling. Here we see in the State of Oz, you bring Americans to Oz, and there's a different kind of reaction. Without giving too much away, can you tell us about how you included that in your story? And do you consider it science fiction?
Yeah, I do consider it science fiction. That's always been my favorite genre, science fiction, although it has close ties to fantasy. So I write a lot of fantasy and I read a lot of fantasy. But I just wondered what would happen if an invitation popped up for the president to visit Oz after a period of non-communication, and then the rest kind of came from there. It all just flowed.
Chris, have you thought about or fantasized on your own about if the State of Oz were to be adapted to a TV series or a movie, who you'd want to be in it, or what would you see it as?
I think probably a TV series would be nice, or a movie, either one. But that would be something else. I think I'd like to see Zendaya play Glinda, and
wow.
Perhaps if they could convince Steve Buscemi, maybe him play the wizard. And
I like this. I like this casting.
And if they could get Tracy Ullman, she could play Mombi in the brief parts that Mombi appears.
You revealed it. I wasn't going to do any spoilers, but that's one of my favorite parts of the book. The mirror and what happens with Ozma there is so unexpected and kind of delightful in a way. Again, without doing spoilers, you in the State of Oz, you take us to points in Baum's canon that was just very briefly covered, and we get to kind of revisit some of those moments. So I really liked that. That had to be a lot of fun to write.
Oh yeah, yeah. He wrote so much great stuff, and a lot of his backstory and details, he mentioned it and then he moved on to tell his story, and he left so many dangling threads that a lot of that I wondered about, so I wrote about it.
It's wonderful. Well, Christopher, thank you so much. I want to let everyone know the book is The State of Oz. It is available now. Christopher Schmehl, look it up. It's available on Amazon. It's available where other books are sold. So we highly recommend it. And thank you, Christopher, so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
You can join the Oz Club by visiting ozclub.org. And you're going to want to do that because we do cool things like this all the time. In addition to Oz Talk, we have several live events throughout the year. During COVID, we've been doing them virtually, but when that's all over, we'll be recongregating for the national convention and more. So join the Oz Club to learn all about that. And again, you can do that at ozclub.org.